So good morning, everyone. And by the way, if I ever get in a jam when I'm speaking to an audience, I can do all state commercials. Everybody get that? So it really is a treat to be able to just share a few words with you this morning with respect to the work that we're doing at the Beacon Council, but more importantly, the opportunity that exists for tech-based companies in Miami, and in particular for men in tech, black men in tech. First of all, I'd say to the conference founders, it's amazing the work that you guys are doing. It's exciting to be a part of it, and I just say welcome home. And when you say welcome home, that means something, right? My home is still Michigan. You know, I was born and raised there, spent the majority of my life there, and every time I go back to visit family and friends, they always say welcome home. So it'll always be home. So we want this to always be home, Miami. We want Miami to always be home for black men talk tech. And so I know I had a few conversations early on. Our commitment as an organization is that we want to work with you. Obviously, we've had a chance to help out a little bit this time, and I'll just say a little bit. But we can do more, and we want to do more, and we want to be an essential part of your success over the long term. So please count on us, and we encourage you to consider this home. The other thing that I wanted to do is just share a little bit about some of the work that we do and how we might be able to help you as you go about establishing and growing your business here in Miami. I mean, the Beacon Council has been around for almost 35 years. And I continue to be amazed as I work the community from north to south, east to west, just how many small business owners in particular, entrepreneurs like many of you, have not had a chance to really get to know the work of the Beacon Council and how resourceful we can be in helping you access key resources that you need. The most frequent resource that I hear about, by the way, when I'm talking to young entrepreneurs is, well, can you just get me some money, right? And the answer to that is maybe, because we certainly have the connectedness throughout the community, both and actually beyond the community as well, that can help you get access to the capital that you're going to need to grow. But in all honesty, every time I talk to an entrepreneur, I want to understand what it is that they're going to solve for. What's the problem they're going to solve for, and why is that meaningful, and what's the potential of it, and how can it grow? I want them to get me excited about the potential of the innovation or the product or service that they're out raising capital for. And if they get me excited about it, then I'm more than happy to try and work to find opportunities for access to capital. And frankly, we can be a resource in that regard. We have a network of investors in the Beacon Council that includes some of the most significant business people throughout Miami-Dade County. And we frequently open access to our membership. We open that access up to businesses that are in search of resources. We have a small group that we call our Urban Initiatives Task Force. And because I know John Hall is here, I'm going to ask him to wave his arms, because John is one of the members, one of the founding members of our Urban Initiatives Task Force. That was a group that was created about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, because there was a need to really connect our organization in a deeper way to some of the things that were happening in the black community here in Miami-Dade. And I just happened to arrive shortly after that group was formed, so I had a chance to really get to know them and to grow with them and to understand what the opportunities and challenges were. And needless to say, I'm really excited about the trajectory that we're on. As an example, we're finding ways to help businesses just like yours get access to capital, get access to customers, and get access to talent. And that's not something that we started when the organization launched, but as we started talking about the key and critical challenges that black businesses have in this community, we said we can help best by helping our companies get in front of audiences that can help them get capital, audiences that can help them get access to new business opportunities, and audiences that can help them get access to key talent. What's really nice is we've now had, at each one of our quarterly meetings, we have 1 or 2 companies that are coming in to make that simple elevator pitch, to tell us about their business, get us excited about what they're doing, help us understand the opportunity that exists for their product or service, as I described earlier. and everyone in the room immediately leans in, and they start to talk about and get excited about the network they have that can connect you as a business owner to the resources you're looking for. One of the really neat successes is a small dialysis company that's located up in Miami Gardens, right? We all know dialysis. If you have renal failure, you're likely to be on dialysis, and if you're on dialysis, you're going to need access to a high-quality facility. And as it turns out, black people are much more susceptible to the issues that cause renal failure than most. So here's a company that's situated in Miami Gardens, and what they came looking for through the Urban Initiatives Task Force in the Beacon Council was access to the major healthcare providers that can bring them or to make them an in-district provider of services, right? So if you understand the insurance industry, you understand how important it is to be in-district, right? How many times have you gone to a doctor with your own medical insurance only to find out that that doctor was not in-district? I have. And I end up paying 100% of the bill, right? So here's a dialysis provider that's sitting in one of the largest black communities in Miami-Dade County, and they're not an in-district provider to a couple of the large insurance providers. So that essentially means anyone who goes to their shop has to pay for 100% of the cost as opposed to their insurance covering it. So through some relationships that we have with two large insurance providers, we were able to make introductions at the highest levels, at the president's level of those two organizations, and the company has now been approved as an in-district provider by one of the companies, and the other one is a work in process. The company is projecting that they will, in fact, quadruple their sales growth over the next year just as a result of the first approval they've gotten. So what does that mean for their business? Well, it's exciting that they can grow, but it also means they need to find capital now. And so our team also has the capacity through people like John and Terry Williams and others who sit as a part of the task force to help them make the connections they need to get the capital as well. A bit of a long-winded story, but I wanted to illustrate to you how we as an organization have really modified and morphed our style of doing business here in Miami so that we are a resource for everybody, right? And that's really important to mention because we're not ignoring anyone else. That's the most important comment I should have made. We're not ignoring anyone who needs access to our services. You could be the largest, most significant company in Miami-Dade County. And we've worked on one of those companies, this little project called Amazon HQ2, that just happened to be one of the largest companies in the world that we ended up quarterbacking on behalf of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Palm Beach, or the three counties, Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. We ended up quarterbacking the development of a comprehensive proposal that ultimately got Miami to be one of the final 20 for consideration. So we have the ability to work at very large scale on very large scale projects, but also to work on very small businesses here in the region. We like to brag a little bit, so in prepping, I put together a few bragging points that I'll talk about. But these bragging points are not just about Miami-Dade or about the work we do at the Beacon Council. It's really about the commitment that the region has made to grow tech in Miami. So going back a few years, back to 2006, Refresh Miami launched as Miami's main tech-oriented community group, right? And Refresh Miami is still around and they're still thriving. The Knight Foundation identified entrepreneurship as a key initiative for Miami and made a major investment in the Lab Miami, the region's first independent co-working space, right? And you're gonna see the Knight Foundation's hands all over everything tech that's happening in Miami-Dade. So it's great to have them here. I think the Knight Foundation probably has a corpus in the range of $2.5 to $3 billion. And of course, the returns they get on that corpus is what they use to make investments in Miami as well as several other communities around the country. So we're excited to have them. We're excited to partner with them. And as it turns out, they were one of our partners in developing the Amazon proposal. 2013, Endeavor, an international business mentorship group, opened in Miami, funded in part by the Knight Foundation. 2014, Code Fever launches. 2016, CIC Miami and Venture Cafe open, providing incredible networking and programming opportunities for local entrepreneurs. In fact, if you're here on a Thursday, you probably have had a chance to visit Venture Cafe's Thursday night events. It's one of the most popular networking and tech-based events in all of South Florida, and it's an opportunity for you to really get connected to the key people and resources that are going to help move your business forward faster. I've gone many times, and I always find it to be an educational experience for myself. Here's a nice one. 2017, the Kauffman Foundation ranked Miami the #1 startup location in the United States. Now, that's a little bit of a tricky comment or bragging right that we have, right? Because being #1 in startups doesn't mean you're #1 in tech startups, right? And so we're not. But at the end of the day, a robust tech environment, you need all the other startup activity as well. You need the restaurants, you need the lawyers, you need the accountants, you need the other service providers. You're going to need the environment that a community like Miami has to offer. And all of those are considerations that Kauffman used in identifying this as the #1 startup location. Even more important about that is that it means that we have it in our blood here. We have the instincts. And what we need to now do is we need to connect what's in our blood, what's in our instincts. We need to connect it to the right opportunities, the right innovations, university-based innovations, so that we have the ability to actually grow high-potential tech-based companies like many of yours. 2018, 500 startups. A Silicon Valley-based venture capital fund arrives in Miami. And they have a thriving business here, and they have a wonderful program to coach and mentor companies. Hopefully some of you will have an opportunity to take advantage of that. And then the thing I'm most excited about that's happened that I can brag about in Miami is that in 2019, Black Men Tech Talk arrived in Miami. So I think we have just an awful lot going on here that can be a resource to you. You know, the work that we have to do at the Beacon Council, it's more than what I described with our Urban Initiatives Task Force. It's a little bit of everything. If you need access to talent, access to sites, access to incentives, help getting through the maze of government permitting and other things that's required in order for you to set up a business and get established here in Miami, we're an organization that's here readily available, and we do not have fees associated with any of the work that we do. And in us, you're going to get an extremely high-quality consulting group that can help you navigate all the kinds of things that I've been talking about in my brief remarks here. So keep that in mind as you continue to work to grow your companies here. We're a resource that can be helpful to you, and you're not here alone, right? We have in Miami-Dade more than 1,000 corporate entities, many of whom are well known by all of you. And in most cases, those represent either national or Latin American headquarter types of operations. So you'll see a lot of our established companies, be it FedEx or anyone else, they may have a major hub here that represents their headquarters for Latin America because of where we sit and the connectedness that we have as a region to Latin America. But you have companies like Spotify, Google, and Facebook. And I love talking about companies like Facebook because Sheryl Sandberg, who is one of the senior leaders at Facebook, happens to be a Miami alumni. I'll call her a Miami alumni because she went to school here. But you also have companies like Chewy. You have a cool entrepreneur that I absolutely love, Brian Breckeen. I'm surprised Brian is not here today. But Brian, a wonderful entrepreneur that's got an awful lot going on, has a fund, Lightship Capital right now, that he is actively looking to find his next thing. So I encourage you to reach out to Brian if you haven't connected with him already. But other large companies like Magic Leap and their founder, Roni Abovitz, another Miami-based person. Of course, you all know about Black Tech Week and Felicia Hatcher and all the great work that she's done. SoftBank has now established a Latin American-focused arm of their Vision Fund here, $5 billion commitment from SoftBank. So people are showing up. They're showing up in a big way, and they represent opportunities for you to get connected, right? And not all of these are companies that you might do business with, but to the extent that they are, we are a resource that can help create connectedness. So I appreciate the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you this morning and look forward to hearing what's coming in the balance of the presentation.